today we are going over Van Richten's guide to Ravenloft, but first I wanted to put on some music. Okay, we can hear myself, that's good. I wanted to put on some music, so I found a online guy who makes free music. I specifically picked his playlist, which is called Ghost Stories Incorporated, premium royalty-free music. His name is Mark Vandermeulen. He's a composer, a guitar player, and a violist. Specifically, this channel, as he said in his description, is about showing people the wonders of the viola itself, which is the smaller cousin to the violin. So I'm going to put this on. I specifically picked out what is creepy, supposed to be some kind of like creepy dark music, ghost stories, things like that. And it's supposed to be premium royalty-free horror fantasy music, so I felt that was perfect for what's going on. Once again, this is Mark Vandermeulen. He's a composer, guitar player, and violist. I just want to make sure he gets properly referenced, because we wouldn't be having this music without him. So thank you, Mr. Meulen, and I start this up. And so I might lower it a little, because on my end it's a little high. I just want to kind of keep it as background noise, because we're going to be doing stuff. And let's get over to our is it there? It is not picking it up for some reason. There we go. And can it just... We're on Van Richten's guide, and I believe... Yeah, okay, it's swapping between everything, so we're good. So, this is Van Richten's guide to Ravenloft. Huge book. I'm using D&D Beyond because I use them for pretty much everything. It's just easier to have all my data in one spot, and D&D Beyond just has it. I also get books all the time, just you know, physical copies of books, things like that. But I find the online source is just very useful to have. So we're gonna go over quickly each section. I'm specifically interested in some of the domains of dread because I'm a DM and I always like certain things. But we're not going over everything because that's too much, and also I'm pretty sure Wizards doesn't want people going over everything. But we'll start with, you know, introduction, character creation. So first is introduction. Welcome to Ravenloft. A scream shatters the still gloom. Inhuman shapes slip between crumbling tombs. The shadows reach forth. Do instincts and imagination conspire against you? Or otherworldly evils claim you, drawing you into the mists of Raven? We got somebody here who's got literally a vampire right behind them. I believe that's supposed to be the super vampire hunter lady from Curse of Strahd, and that is either just a vampire or Strahd himself. So, they talk about using the book, all the different chapters, and our first piece of that really cool lore that is in pretty much all of these books, which is just that cute little, like, hey, I'm a person who actually wrote this book, so this tome is like everything. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff on just the start of the game, start of things, and like what you can have, different dark powers, things like that. We're gonna review a couple of the dark powers and just see what's interesting to us. That's cute. That I like this. Rudolph Van Richten prepares for his next expedition, watched over by the spirit of his son Erasmus. Oh, that's very cute. That's interesting because my understanding is like Erasmus is super dead, like not even a ghost. But we'll see. Anyway, moving on. Chapter 1, character creation. You know, a whole bit on like playing characters who are, you know, sad or depressed or things like that, because this is horror, so you're not necessarily making sad or depressed characters, but you're getting in that vein of like, this is horror, or at least gothic bright or something like that. Like, you want the idea that like things are going to be scary, but also perhaps it's more like it's scary in that fun game way sort of thing, where it's like comedy but also horror. Either way. There's some options, there's lineages. We'll go over the 3 lineages because obviously. Dampier, which is, you know, Dampier. Let's see. There are different hungers that a Dampier can have, which is interesting. So I know there's an ability they have where they bite into a person, so... Well, that's cool. You know, a Dampier doesn't necessarily have to be, like, a vampire. They've kind of changed it to just, like, you're kinda undead. Which is kind of cool. It used to be a straight, like, you know, you're a vampire, a normal person's child. In fact, let me see if there's a... They have a taste of the vampire's deathless prowess. So that's either... They're either suggesting that... They're either suggesting that the vampires are going to have these different types, which kind of makes sense. Blood is the standard, of course. Cerebral spinal fluid, I saw that there's a Mind Flayer vampire in here, so that makes sense. Psychic energy, I believe there's a vampire called the Mind Vampire. Dreams, I don't know of any vampire that specifically goes against dreams, but I've definitely heard of creatures that go against it. Life energy, that's pretty similar to blood. And then flesh or raw meat I've never heard of, so maybe they're talking about, like, opening up vampires a lot more, so that'll be interesting to see if that's in this book. I don't think it is, but if it is, it'll be really cool. And if not, then, you know, you're just kind of, you can, I would say, if you're being a kind DM, your player could say, I want to play a Dampier, but not vampire, just undead in general, and then pick one of his hungers, and just, you know, you go with it and say, like, flesh and blood is like you're a ghoul or something like that. It's just a very cool way of handling it. Dampiers in the domains of dread. When creating a Dampier, ask your DM if it makes sense for you to have ties to one of the following domains of dread. I'm sure this is just background stuff to get connected back into the, what's it called? Oh my goodness. Dark powers? Dark gifts? Dark gifts, yes. That way you can kind of, like, sit there and go, like, hey, I should be able to do this, right? So, like, at night, overrun by a Jiangshi, you're left with a cold hunger. Oh, so these are just backgrounds that are just, like, you were here doing the thing. It's kind of, eh. I don't know what, you know, Barovia is, I guess, where Ravenloft is. Darkon, I don't know. Has secret police. Darkon sounds interesting. We might check that out later. And Ikath is overrun by the vampiric Jiangshi, which is the I think that's the jumping vampire. Let's take a quick check. Yeah, Jiangshi is the jumping vampire. Interesting choice by Wizards to still utilize the jumping vampire, but we'll
jumping vampires are Chinese vampires.
Oh, Chinese. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Flatline.
They're like one, I think, I'm not super knowledgeable on their mythology, but from what I understand, they have like one leg, and they have like a what's it called? Like a little thing on their forehead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's like the runic thing to make them not move, right?
I think it's just what gives them their. I don't know enough about them. That is where my thing goes. I believe they're. In fact, they might be Japanese. I think they're Chinese. I'm relatively certain they're Chinese.
Well, I trust you. We're going to say it's Chinese, and if anyone says otherwise, we're going to double down on our ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Also, yeah.
But yeah. So humanoids, medium or small. Speed of a Dampier is 35 feet. That's a little powerful, but you know, it's not too powerful because like what else happened? But it is like why you get that. Ancestral legacy. Any skill proficiencies you gain if you replace a race, you can keep skill proficiencies and then any speeds you get. So if you add Dampier on top of a flying race, you can fly and be a Dampier, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Or you get in proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. So that means that climbing, flying, and swimming speeds all count as like 1 proficiency, which I think is not accurate, but it's fair. They can do whatever they want. Automatically, your climbing speed is your walking speed. That's pretty nice. And you're also able to do vertical surfaces and climb up and go upside down along ceilings, so that's nice. Dark vision 60 feet. You don't need to breathe. That's useful. And then when you bite people, it does 1d4 damage. And then you can regain hit points and gain a bonus on the next ability check or attack roll you make equal to the piercing damage dealt by the bite. That's really strong. Oh, Alexa, stop. How many times can you do that? Proficiency bonus? That's still pretty nice. Hex-Blood. Hex-Bloods are the Night Hags ones, I think? Yeah. Heir of Hags. Hex-Blood Origins. So did they keep the thing about you being able to be turned into a hag and lose your character? Yeah. You can lose your character. I think that sucks. What? So if you pick hag, not that this is like a guarantee, but like there's a sub-rule they have about becoming a hag, which is
you can...
What was that? What were you saying?
Oh, you need to consent, so it's a choice.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh, be in the same place and consent. Okay, yeah. So at least it's consent, but it is also losing your character. Forever.
Yeah, but it's a choice, so...
That's fair. As long as it's a choice, that's a lot better. I thought it was like against your will, and it was like a bad story beat kind of thing, where it's like, DM can get rid of your character by turning them into a hag, and like kidnapping you. You count as Fey, you're medium or small, your walking speed is 30. You replace your original race, but you keep that same rules as before. So Ancestral Legacy is just something that's throughout all of them. Your dark vision is 60. Eerie token, you can remove something of yours and imbue it with magic, and then either send telepathic messages through it or remote view an area. That's pretty neat. So you get to do the message spell or sending to 10 miles as long as somebody's holding on to your thing. And then you can cast Disguise Self and Hex, which is good. Those are pretty powerful. Disguise Self, you can hide yourself around, and then Hex is yeah, you deal extra damage. That's necrotic specifically. Okay, and the last is the Reborn. I'm most interested in them because I haven't seen a Frankenstein type before, or Frankenstein type. Some Reborn origins, stats, advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, advantage on death saving throws. That's nice. That's going to keep you up a long time. Speed is 30 feet. You have Ancestral Legacy. You don't need any sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. That's really useful. 4 hours of rest is really powerful. And then Knowledge from the Past, which is you can roll a d6 immediately after seeing the number and add that number to the check on your d20 roll. So that... Less so the Dampier. Yeah.
Hold on. So Deathless Nature, right?
Yeah.
That means technically you can guard forever in the night, but you'd only face one direction, right?
Yes.
If you were in a motionless, inactive state.
Yeah, just like the Warforged, yeah.
So, could you pull up a pulley system that just spins them around during the whole night?
Yes. Yeah, I would say yes. It says, if you spend those hours in an inactive, motionless state. So technically, a DM could say no because you're not motionless, but that would mean that you would die on a boat of any 6-day journey.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious. So all Reborn players out there, don't get on boats.
Well, I read that as you, the player, needs to be motionless, not your surroundings.
I'm giving that warning to all those poor players who have horrible, mean DMs. But I totally agree with you. We set up the right. In fact, we don't even need a rope pulley system because that requires like a tree and a whole bunch of stuff. If we just get him like a box that's like constantly spinning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's super useful. And then knowledge from the past, I think, makes the Reborn maybe close to the most powerful guy of the 3 new lineages. Because this is specifically because like I'm always looking to stack the deck in my favor. So if I'm blessed, that's a D4. If I have Bardic Inspiration, I believe that's a D6. And then I use Knowledge of the Past for another D6, which would put my minimum average at 18 on dice rolls, which is like crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's them, and then let's see this next chapter. It's supposed to be about the dark gifts. We can make some bargains, negotiate with a party only if this character seals the deal by accepting the dark gift. And there's some dark gifts you can get a hold of. One is Echoing Soul. Your soul is not your own. But what does it mean? What does it mean? Okay. You gain proficiency in 2 skills. You can read. You can speak, read, and write 1 additional language. That's it. That's what Echoing Soul does. Roll on an option to determine the nature of the gift. Additionally, you gain the traits that follow. Okay, so you gain these traits. And then you roll whenever you attack or make an ability check or saving throw. So basically almost whenever you roll a die except for on skills. Oh no, because skills are also ability checks, I think. Your soul's memories emerge and overtake your perceptions, and then you might see people immediately after you make an attack. You might see people around you somewhere else. Roll on the intrusive to determine the effects of these vivid memories. Once one of the effects occurs, these intrusive echoes can't manifest again until... Okay, so it's once per day. I guess when the DM says so. And just one of these things happens. And then there's a roll on huts. So that's kind of okay. But I'm not sure I'd be willing to take a dark bargain for that.
Man, I really wish I could speak Spanish. Well,
yeah, like this is my soul I'm giving up to speak a language.
it's like, well, I do have that midterm I need to pass.
Jeez. Oh man.
And then you learn how to speak Spanish, but you don't know how to write it, and you fail.
Exactly. Give me at least, if I'm going to make a dark bargain that ruins my life, at least make me as powerful as a warlock who used a dark bargain to ruin their life. Give me Eldritch Blast!
Although I do assume that the original is more like, it saved your life, so...
Yeah. So, Gathered Whispers. You're haunted by spiritual beings. You learn Message. When you cast it, it's one of the whispering spirits that does it, other than you or the target's voice. That's cool. As a DM, I would love to use that to mess with people. We gotta determine the spirit. Sudden Cacophony. When you're hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to channel your haunting spirits. Let their voices howl through you. If not deafened, add proficiency bonus to AC against that attack. Okay, so that's a way to defend yourself. That's pretty nice. Immediately after you make an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw, and roll a 1, the haunting voices will grow too loud to ignore, and the same effect happens. Was it a 1 on the previous one also? Yeah, and you roll a 1 on the... So it's always when you roll a 1, a bad thing happens. Living Shadow. You can cast Mage Hand with your Shadow. When you melee attack, you can increase your reach by 10 feet. That's useful. That 15-foot melee strike? Oh, man. If I were a fighter, especially a greatsword fighter, Shadow Strike would be the thing to take. Oh, man! If you're a glaive fighter and you already have 10 feet, you can, if you're a bugbear with long limbs, so you go to 15 feet, and then you use this to gain an extra 10 feet, so you have a 5-foot reach. No one expects that! And then bugbears have, ambush or something? Hold on. Game rules, races... Bugbear! Long-limbed is 5 feet greater, so yeah, the 10, and then add the Prolar makes it 15, then add that makes it 25. Sneaky, surprise attack. If you surprise a creature and hit it with an attack on your first turn in combat, the attack will deal an extra 2d6 damage to it. Oh! Be a rogue! Be a bugbear rogue and take this! No one expects a 25-foot range attack from a guy! Just a 25-foot melee, go! You can start duels that way. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And then, if you roll a 1, the shadows mess with you, and the number is odd, reduced by the total, if it's even, increase. Okay, so 50-50 good chance, bad chance. When you roll a 1, the next time you roll, you either get a bonus or a negative. Take it. Take the living shadow quirk and be a bugbear and win the game. Oh man, I love that. I don't even care about the rest of these. Mistwalker, okay. Misty Step, okay, that makes sense. So it's all about when you enter the mists intent on reaching a specific domain. Okay, so that tells me some information about how the domains of dread work. So you walk into the mists and hope they take you to the right spot. That's good to know. You treat as if you possess a mist talisman keyed to that domain. To use this, okay, so this must be back in Curse of Strahd when you're given that letter. And you take that to Strahd. That must be a mist talisman that is keyed to the domain of Barovia, thus getting you to Ravenloft. You must know the name of the domain you've chosen as your destination, but you don't need to have previously visited that land. Yeah, it's exact. Okay, so that's what Strahd did to them. The trait doesn't allow you to bypass domain borders closed by a Dark Lord's will. Interesting. Poisoned roots. When you finish a long rest, the world around you in a 10-mile radius becomes a siphon that will leech away your vitality? What?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
When you finish one long rest, the world around you in a 10-mile radius becomes a siphon that will eventually leech away your vitality. They couldn't think of another roll of 1 and a result happens, so instead you die if you stay in one spot too long.
God, 10 miles. I mean, that's doable. Like, you could walk that.
You can remain in the area safely for a number of weeks equal to your Constitution modifier, minimum of 1 week. So you can at least stay for a couple days before you have to get going, because 10 miles is doable in 1 day.
Yeah.
Thereafter, Thereafter that number of weeks, you'll need to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or gain 1 level of exhaustion that can't be removed as long as you're in the area. Oh.
That's
Misty.
mean.
But I think that's why you get Mist Traveler. Because Mist Traveler, if you're playing in a Domains of Dread campaign, being a Mist Traveler gives you a little bit of an easy way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. Poisoned Roots, painful. Play a con character and get that key. Let's see. Second form, you can transform. No spell slots, alter self. Okay. When you cast it, some cosmetic of the second form remains after the spell ends. This marks you unless you actively hide or disguise. Okay. Okay, so you can do... Give the effects of that spell's change appearance option. Cool. So second form is you get alter self, and you have a second person you can turn into, basically like a changeling. Well, changelings can be anybody, but you alter self, you change into somebody else, and then from then on, whenever you cast alter self, not from then on, just whenever you cast alter self, a piece of your second identity stays on as something that is a reference back to that second identity that you'll have to hide. So that's interesting. I would say make that your primary identity maybe instead, but we'll see what happens. It's a game. Everyone loves whatever they love. Involuntary change. Certain circumstances can activate your dark gift after you experience a catalyst. At the start of your next turn, you must succeed on a saving throw for charisma, or use your action to cast Alter Self as described in the transformation trait, even if you have already used it. That's not great. And the catalyst is rolled on here, which is interesting. Touching pure silver with bare skin, hearing a particular melody. Okay, so that's useful. Symbiotic being. Entwined essence. You gain 2 languages. Separate entity, own physical form. Yours is bound to. The symbiote has its own abilities. Neat. We get 2 skills. If you die, so does the symbiote. The symbiote has a vested interest in your survival. When you fail a saving throw, you can choose to have the symbiote expend one of the hit dice to roll it and add the number rolled to roll it and add the number rolled to the saving throw. That will turn the failure into success, possibly. If it uses this feature, you succeed on the save and regain 1 hit point regardless of the number rolled on the d20. So that's really nice. That keeps you going all day, every day. And then there's an agenda. If you have the opportunity to advance and don't act on it, the symbiote can try to force you. So this is just Intelligent Weapons 101. Charisma saving throw DC 12 plus symbiote's charisma modifier. So what I'm hearing is when I make the symbiote, I should definitely make its charisma the highest to mess with players. And then you can be charmed. Roll on the agenda. Seeks to destroy a type of being. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so 6 different things. Touch of Death. Death Touch. You can touch people for D10 necrotic damage. That's At 17th level, it's 4d10. So eventually you get basically inflict wounds. What was that?
I am back.
Cool.
I had thought my headset was not working, but when I put it down, I had accidentally turned off the volume on the headset and did not realize it.
Perfect. Well, glad you're
back. So I restarted my computer because...
Excellent. Welcome back. So you get inflict wounds, basically, the spell, except it's only at 11th level that it becomes inflict wounds. And a D10 is okay, but I guess that's you can do it anytime you want, so that's fine. But like, you could be a monk and get more attacks and more damage. Maybe no, it's as an action make an unarmed strike, so there's nothing that lets you do this over and over again. Inescapable death. When you hit a target with an attack roll and deal necrotic, you ignore their resistance to that damage. That's powerful. That's useful. Doesn't block immunity though. When you are grappling a creature or are grappled by it, the creature takes 1d10. That's... Ooh. What's the... There's a grapple build, right?
Nothing of grappling. That is like one of the D&D rules I know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah, if you can get good at grappling, this becomes very useful because you just have to sit there and let the D10 soak the person while you make them unable to fight back.
I don't know anything of how grappling works.
Yeah.
Aww, I feel is like so fucking common. Like,
oh yeah.
Nobody knows grappling rules.
I don't think grappling exists.
that also might be a true statement. And like, I don't know enough to counter that.
Yeah, like I've opened the player's handbook. I've read the grappling section. I've done it multiple times, but but if you put me, hand to God, and you were like, "What are the grappling rules?" I'd be like, "Nobody knows. It doesn't matter. Keep playing the game."
Yeah, I don't.
I have
no fucking clue.
Yeah, I just try to read it whenever we bring it up. I just open it up and read it for everyone again. So Borrowed Eyes, last one, the Watchers. It's just wild. As an action, you can influence the presence guiding the Watchers for 1 hour. For the duration, you gain advantage on investigation, perception, and can't be blinded. That's useful. Just auto advantage on a bunch of your checks. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Well, that's okay, because it's 1 hour, and I can do a lot of investigating in 1 hour. You have disadvantage on... Oh, no.
You have what?
Disadvantage on deception, performance, and persuasion against creatures that can see the Watchers. And you have disadvantage on saving throws against the scrying spell, because you're constantly being watched.
Oh.
You can temporarily disperse or hide the Watchers with effort. It takes you 1 minute of work. I guess you pull out a broom and start batting the Watchers away. You're like, go away! and a successful DC...
Stop watching!
DC 15 Charisma Animal Handling check. So it's those cats. You have to push the cats away.
What are the Watchers?
These cats, I assume. I assume it's these cats.
Let me go... Oh, I don't have this thing up.
Yeah.
Well done.
Takes the form of shadow stuff, usually the shape of tiny beasts that follow you and gather in your general vicinity. They act like normal examples of their kind, but their behavior suggests a hint of malice. No matter what precautions you take, you can't permanently drive these spirits away. They always return, wait just beyond the reach of deterrence, or later crawl out of your clothes and equipment. Oh my god.
Kind of cool that you're just haunted by that.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you haunted by that? I missed that.
This is one of the dark gifts you can get. So with 1 minute of work, you can suppress them for an hour. Once you successfully suppress those features, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So yeah. That's wild.
I like that. I like that these are like actual kind of curses.
Yeah, I mean, some of them don't feel super worth it, but there are some where I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that.
So wait, what do the Watchers do to you? They just kind of watch, or
they hang out, and if anybody can see the Watchers and knows what they are, actually, it just says see the Watchers, you get disadvantage on deception, performance, and persuasion checks, and you have disadvantage on saving throws against the scrying spell.
Okay, so if they can see spirits, basically.
It doesn't say they're invisible. It says they're just tiny beasts that follow you around everywhere. So
it doesn't say like what allows someone to see them?
I think it's just seeing them in general. So I think what basically you look like is the cat lady from Simpsons. Like, you're just surrounded by cats, or, like, you know, little animals, and they all, like, are looking around and they go, ah, at people. And so when you try to talk to someone, it's like, okay, I'm trying to take you seriously, but also, you literally have an owl there that's just giving me the death eye.
Death Owl Eye.
Yeah, like, you get how hard that would be to, like, take someone at face value when it's like, you know you have these things surrounding you, right?
Yeah.
And then College of Spirits Bard and the Undead Warlock are the two new classes. You can get... Oh, that's cute. Wait. They changed your... Wait. You can use an action. Let's see. Guiding... We'll start at the top. Guiding Whispers. You learn Guidance. Okay. Spiritual Focus. You use Taroka and candles and crystal balls and stuff as your spellcasting focus. That's cool. I mean, crystal ball is already a spellcasting focus, but yeah. At 6th level, when you cast a bard spell that deals damage, roll a d6, gain a bonus to 1 damage or healing roll of the spell equal to the number rolled. Okay. Tales from Beyond. You reach out to spirits who tell their tales through you.
For tell you that, oh my god, oh, that's a character archetype. You reach out and it's only your ancestors telling the most benign stories.
Yes. Once I saw a dog, and he was sitting there, and his food was under a bowl. So what he did was he put his paw on one end of the bowl, and then moved his snout against it to turn it over.
Okay, Grandpa. Thanks. I need to know a story about how to beat the dragon. Well, I'm getting to that, boy. I'm getting to that.
Yep. Hello, Kickstand 284-1111. We're looking over Van Richten's guide from D&D and just talking about it. We're currently on the Bard from the College of Spirits. Just, hanging out, talking about D&D and stuff. So let's see. You use a bonus action to expend one of your bardic inspiration and roll on the spirits table using your bardic inspiration die to determine the tale the spirits direct you to tell. Okay, so the spirits say, hey, do this. You retain the tale in mind until you bestow the tale's effects, or you get a short rest. Okay. Roll spirit. Okay, to expend a bardic inspiration, get the tale, and then use an action to do the tale. To choose one creature to receive the tale. Okay. You can retain only one of these tales in mind at a time. Interesting. And the tale can possibly have a save. I don't think a bard's... This must be when you spend the die, you get a d12 to roll. And roll on the table using your die. No, it is using... So a bard must eventually get to d12 in his bardic inspiration. And so you start with, like, the tale of the clever animal. For 10 minutes, whenever the target makes a check that is mental, the target can re-roll an extra die immediately after rolling the d20 and add the extra die's number to the check. The extra die is the same type as the bardic inspiration die. Okay, so this is just a bunch of, like, here's some bonuses. Ooh, I like the tale of the renowned duelist. Alright, so here's what you do. We have our bugbear, right?
Okay.
So we get the bard to get the tale of the renowned duelist. And the bard gives the bugbear the tale of the renowned duelist to give him 2 rolls of the bardic inspiration die, plus the bard's charisma modifier, I think. Oh no, it's only when you make his a melee spell attack. That's unfortunate. Or so wait, can you choose... Oh, okay. This is the bard stabbing someone with the the thing. Still, they can get, if they use their if they take the Dark Bargain of the Shadow and they're a bard and a bugbear, a melee spell touch attack becomes 20 feet, which is hilarious. That still surprises them. You can still get the 2d6, so it'll be 4d6 plus charisma modifier. That's how you play a bard. Gain some HP. Tons of different. Okay, these are cool abilities. Spirit Session. The spell you choose must be of a level equal. Supernatural Insights. Conduct an hour-long ritual. Conduct the ritual with a number of willing creatures equal to proficiency bonus. You learn one spell. That's it? Why the other people?
Hey man, it's a difficult spell.
I guess. Why do I want to do the ritual with other people? It must be later in this text. The level must be equal to the number of creatures that conducted the ritual. So if I want a 5th level spell, I need 5 people to join it. And I need to be at a level where I can do it. That's pretty cool. I like that it's connected to the party. Like, you need their help. Alright, Smug. I know you're a barbarian, but I need your help for this magic. What me do? Just sit in the corner and drink for an hour. I like you now, Bard. I like you now. Mystical Connection. Nudge the spirits of tales from beyond towards certain tales. Oh, okay, your earlier ability. Whenever you roll on the Spirit Tales table, you can roll the die twice and choose which of the 2 effects to bestow. If you roll the same number twice, you can ignore the number and choose any effect on the table. Nice. Talking about what the Spirit Tales do. Okay, so it's just kind of meh. It's talking about how you should, like, flavor your things. And now, the Undead Warlock. He's only been in beta since the beginning of the game.
Really?
I think it was called the Undying or something like that, but basically, yeah, Undead Warlock has been in a UA for a long time. In fact, let me check. UA Undead Warlock. I think the original one was like a long time ago, but we'll see. Unearthed Arcana 74? Oh, okay. That's more recent. I thought it was a really old one. I must be mixing them up. Yeah, 2020 it says. Okay, I was wrong. I thought that was since, like, the start of the game, basically. Anyway. Form of Dread, you manifest an aspect of your patron's dreadful power. So you do the whole, like, I am evil. As a bonus action, you transform, gain an abysmally small amount of hit points. Once during each of your turns, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can force it to make a saving throw. If they fail, they are frightened of you, and you are immune to the friend condition? That's sad. I was hoping the Form of Dread would be, like, the mainstay that gets you stronger and stronger over time.
Hear me, for I am slightly spooky.
Yeah. Forcing a whiz saving throw on the enemy is a good thing, at least. Grave Touched. You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe. Useful, but also for this, maybe not so useful if you're a Dampier or one of the races that already don't need to do that. Once during each of your turns, when you hit someone with an attack roll and damage against the creature, you can replace the damage type with necrotic damage. That's nice. While you're using your Form of Dread, you can roll 1 additional damage die when determining the necrotic damage the target takes. That's good. So that's useful. At least okay, everything does reference back to the form of dread, it looks like. You have resistance to necrotic damage. If you are in the form of dread, you are immune to necrotic damage. When you would be reduced to 0 hit points, you can use your reaction to drop to 1 instead and cause your body to erupt with deathly energy. Very cool. Each creature of your choice within 30 takes necrotic equal to 2d10 plus Warlock level. That's cool. So you can just like explode for a second. You then get a level of exhaustion. And you need 1d4 long rest in order to do that again. That's a little sad. One would hope that those abilities work a little better, but...
What level do you get that at?
10th level, and it's 1d4 long rests. It's when you die, you explode and get 1 HP. So kind of like a Phoenix Reborn thing.
Usually you get those at level 14, I think.
Okay, well, we'll see what his 14 is.
I think.
Yeah. At 14, you get to project your spirit. Your body becomes unconscious, so you're gonna die. Your spirit resembles your mortal form. Any damage. Your spirit can remain outside the body. Anything that applies to your spirit or physical body affects the other. Your spirit can remain outside your body for up to 1 hour, as if concentrating on a spell. Your projection ends, the spirit returns to your body, or okay. While projecting, you gain the following. Your spirit gains resistance to everything. When you cast a spell of the Conjuration or Necromancy school, the spell doesn't require verbal or somatic components, or material components that lack a gold cost. Flying speed equal to walking speed and can hover. Oh, you're powerful. You can move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but take damage if you stay inside them. While using your form of dread, once during each of your turns, when you deal necrotic damage to a creature, you regain hit points equal to half the amount of necrotic damage left. So that's pretty good. It's interesting that you have to be in your spirit form, though.
Are people talking in the chat?
There's one person that talked. I said hello back, but I think that was already too late and they had left.
Oh, okay.
But there are 3 people in chat, or 3 people watching live, so hello to the people. I don't know who all the people are, though. So that's pretty cool. That's our 2 subclass options. Backgrounds. I'm not super interested in backgrounds, so we'll just do a quick, like, inheritor, which means that you are the inheritor of a famed legacy. Okay. Mist Wanderer, that's the one that you can have the terrible thing with, and you have Mist Talismans for. Spirit Medium, Trauma Survivor, Traveler, so some basic stuff, like stuff that makes sense. Haunted One can get a Monster Hunters pack, which I assume is a new kind of gear that we have. Let me just check. Monster Hunters gear. Crowbar, hammer, 3 wooden stakes. Oh, it's very cool. Languages, skill proficiencies, nothing else special about him except a harrowing event and the Heart of Darkness. Those who look in your eyes can see that you've faced unimaginable horror, aka seen shit. You are no stranger to darkness. Everybody will help you. Oh, nice. That's a really powerful ability. The Haunted One gets the ability to rabble up a crowd of peasants.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Because there's basically like, yo, these things are going to kill you. Y'all need to get your shit together.
Actually, no. Is, unless you show yourself to be a danger to them, they will extend you every courtesy, do their utmost to help you, and will even take up arms to fight alongside you, should you find yourself facing an enemy alone. So, the people, it assumes the people will not be helping you unless you're like, Strahd is on the other side of the street, and you're like standing there alone, and he's like, are you ready to draw? And then like someone throws a tomato at Strahd, and they're like, he's not alone! And then, dies instantly for their hubris.
He's alone, he is.
Only when fighting alone. That's a little... I wonder what they mean by alone. I'm going to assume that the DM... I'm going to assume it's a by DM thing, because, like, as written, I would take that to mean it's when you've
Without
split
the
from the
party.
party, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Which sucks. I would probably give you, if you're with the party, advantage on the roll to get the peasants to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're alone, they show up, no questions asked. If you're with the party, they're hesitant because you're the fighters, right? There's like 5 of you, but because you have this, like, thing with the common man, I'd give you advantage as a DM, I would think.
That seems about correct.
Yeah. And then the investigator, guess what you do? Search for things. You get a magnifying glass. Yes! You also get, as one of my friends calls it, a piece of garbage from the trash table, which is also the table that he loves the most and cares more about than any other table. It is the horror trinkets table, and it is the trinkets in general table that he just loves, because it's just, here is an item which means absolutely nothing. Like a winter coat stolen from a dying soldier. Nice. Lepidopterist's box filled with dead moths with skull-like patterns on their wings. Truly amazing. So good. Official inquiry. You can gain access to people and places to get the information you need. Fast talking, determination, official looking documentation, access to a place or an individual related to a crime you're investigating. Those who aren't involved in your investigation avoid impeding you or pass along your requests. Additionally, local law enforcement has firm opinions about you, viewing you either as a nuisance to or one of their own. Interesting. And then the table of horror trinkets. Number 100 is a sunburst amulet with a red stone at the center. Mishka heads, electrum coins, mourning, a mourning veil trimmed with black lace, small portrait of you as a child, alongside your identically dressed twin, vial of perfume, scent of which only certain creatures can detect, pouch made of flesh with sinew drawstring. That's the most wild thing about the horror trinkets, is some of them are items that it's like, why do you keep that on you? What was your reasoning for doing this? Like a pallid leather gloves crafted with ivory fingernails. A jar of pickled ghoul's tongues. Oh man, why would you have those? Anyway.
Gotta keep my jar of pickled jewels tongues around.
Yeah. And then a thing for DMs on making dreadlords, dark lords, and domains, which is just eh. I mean, it's not eh, like it's super useful, but I make villains all the time now, so I'm not too. I'll read this over it someday, but it's kind of like it's just useful for like newer people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how this. I don't know if she's like not aware of how bad her situation is, but I like the way that art is drawn. She travels the endless domains guided by fate and song. Oh, okay, so she's one of those people with like hope still. And then there's stuff about your domain. The domain is probably more interesting for me because these are probably good for anybody who's like they've never fully gotten into a specific aspect of a thing. Like for me, I rarely am able to really get a domain down, horror or otherwise, and just describe like what it's like in the countryside and things like that. So like this is really useful probably for anybody who's like really new to it. It's the same with the section on creating a Dark Lord. I always feel weird because like the way I do it is very like I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So when they say like consider these questions when creating their backstory. Like, none of that ever comes to my mind as far as questions go. My brain just always goes like, this is who they are, this is what they're doing, why are they doing this? This is reason, things like that. Like, very rarely do I need to come back on these questions. It just kind of happens. But like, I think it's
Just
awesome
your
that they're at least trying to give
experience.
people that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I play D&D a lot, so that makes sense. But I think it's super useful for anybody who's never done it before. These vague questions, I think they're a little. The one thing I will give about these questions to be like a little negative on is they are super definitely tooled towards horror, when these questions could just as easily be rewritten for any NPC. So, like, instead of what was the first depraved act that they chose to commit and how did their ideal encourage them down this path, that's very clearly like keyed towards horror. What the real question though is, like, what was the first defining act of this person, and what ideals led them down that path for them to keep moving? That's how you make any NPC. And then, like, for you're making a Dark Lord, it's just, how messed up was it? Or even, it doesn't have to be a depraved act. It could be they did something good and were horrifically cursed in response to it by the darkness. Like,
Like
how dare
never
you
paid
try.
my taxes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like, or like just a paladin who like killed an evil just an evil creature's like daughter or something, and they were like, I am not okay with that. How about this? You like going around and helping people? I'll give you a realm to do that for the rest of your life. And just have that person slowly get like bogged down with constant bad things happening. Um, and it's the same for all these questions. Were they rewarded or celebrated for their evil? Did that reaction encourage greater crimes? Were these rewards earned or justified? Same exact question, except instead of saying, it's their crimes, just say, was this action taken rewarded or celebrated? Did the, or, like, what was the reaction? How did the reaction make them act as a person? I have you were there in our, you were there in the campaign, that was the Lawbringer campaign. Aiken's backstory, since it's probably safe to tell you this, is he was a Goliath among a tribe of Goliaths and was hanging out with them, and he tried to do paladin work. He was doing like an upstanding guy and doing a paladin, and one day he fought a giant, and the giant like crushed him, and his people left him for dead. But he killed the giant, and so he was sitting there in the snow, dying, and he gave up on everything. And he was like, "This is, I hate my people. I hate my tribe. They're all monsters. They left me out here to die," because it was a very survival focused people. And so with that anger, he let go of being a paladin, and that's how he became the anti-paladin you guys ended up meeting. And so when you guys met him, it was years later, and he hadn't destroyed his village. He was just angry, and he left, and he went down to Aberdeen and was like, I'm just going to be the most me person and like take over things and make it so that no one ever thinks to hurt me or betray me again. And then he met you guys, and you guys. He got lucky on a save, and you guys decided he was a god. Mm, super wild. But yeah, the all of these are keyed towards darkness, and if anybody's out there watching and just wants like some useful information on this, like, these questions are good, but don't take these to mean that that's the way of things. It's actually just a few little changes, and it works much better all of a sudden, as just for any character you're trying to make. And you can change the question, like, what was the first honorable act that instead of Dark Lord, we'll say Bright Lord because I'm lazy, but you get what I mean. Like, what was the first good act this person did, and what was their ideal that made them do that, and how do you move forward from there? You can do that with any character, anything. You don't need to make it only focused on the idea of a Dark Lord. So I think that's an important thing to take away. Um, let's see, looking at some domain stuff. What does the act? A Dark Lord lurks at the heart of every domain of dread. Everything is inspired by or personalized to them in some way. That's what I love. Some domains might be dismal ruins of reflective of past glories. Others might be cheery realms where the Dark Lord is forever an outsider. And still others might embody everything a Dark Lord once strove for and be awful nonetheless. The domain includes sight, sounds, and spells. Very cool. Consider selecting those. To start creating the domain, choose the three of the evil acts your Dark Lord committed, and then consider selecting those that best complement the player's characters that don't conflict with any boundaries discussed in your group's session 0. That is in chapter 4, which I think is after this. Horror adventures. Let's see the table of contents. Yeah, because we're in Domains of Dread still. We're still nowhere near all this other stuff. So it might have been nice to see that information first, but it's fine. For each evil act, imagine the scene where it took place and then answer these questions. What does the act sound like from a distance or to someone in the next room? How does it or its consequences smell? What color demands? Okay, so Once you've written those down, write the answers and review them. Highlight words that resonate or feel creepily evocative as you proceed through the domain creation. Refer back to these details for inspiration. Oh, okay. Yeah. I get this. I've heard about this before. Once again, this doesn't have to just be towards dark. It's the same thing. Like if you're just creating any area, think about things that will happen in that area, and try to, 3 average everyday things, like 3 things that happen in a forest. There's people walking, there's birds twittering, and like occasionally there's I don't know, like a tree branch breaking or leaves rustling. And so like what does that sound like? How's it feel? How does it smell? All those kind of things. So it's focusing on like evoking from you, and you really want something that feels right. Very cool. Going to the next chapter because it's mostly all that stuff. The genres of horror. I can't go through all of this, but it's definitely going to be useful. It's all the different kinds of horror, and it looks like, yeah, each monster is given a. So there's monsters in the book, and it gives the source, so you know where they came from. I wish they gave page number, or at least the vague page range, because page number seems to be something they won't ever put down, and I dislike that. But it at least shows you each of the monsters and what kind of like type of horror they fit inside. Sorry about getting angry about the page number.
It's funny.
It's just so easy to write the page number, and then I don't have to go like online on D&D Beyond. It's as easy as clicking Myconid Adult and going, what's this? And so that's fine. But in the book, when they're like, go to the monster manual, find Myconid Adult, that just, I gotta pull out a book now, and I gotta go through, like, just give me some page numbers, guys. It's so much easier. But I think this is really useful to anyone. Plus, it gives you that idea of what you're trying to go for. Maybe not in the entire campaign, but in like each session of the campaign, you could go through the genres of horror and really focus on them. Because like, you could be doing a game which is in general a cosmic horror plot, but that does not change that in cosmic horror there is always events of body horror, just because of the alien nature of such a monstrosity like possessing a human for a short period of time, and looking at the ways that they can like bend and break their arms and rip themselves apart and stuff like that as they go through the rest of the world in this like meat suit that they have no care for. And the amount of like horrific damage that a cosmic horror can do by, say, creating an engine that's based off of the psychic anguish of people as they're being tortured, and so create like an entire body horror scenario in a basement somewhere. We have the adult tag on this, right? I think we have the adult
Your
tag on this.
stream.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, like it says other horror genres. It talks about disaster horror, same kind of thing. A cosmic horror, the disaster to the people living on the planet, or even living on a country, or in like a city. Like disaster can be as wide ranging as you want it to be, and things like a cosmic horror can really drill down deep into that kind of a stuff. So like you could have an entire campaign that's like the whole point is it's a cosmic horror that we're facing, but it's in a dark fantasy realm. So like what you're looking at in most of the day is just dark fantasy power plots going on. And then like if you go outside the city, perhaps there's like folk horror plots all over the place. But like behind everything is this idea of the cosmic horror kind of causing all of these issues. And then like you just kind of figure out where you're going with everything. But each one definitely has its own themes, which should be like recognized and looked into. But I think you could create a very cool. I know the domains of dread are meant to be like this whole thing of going to each of these zones that are like this, but you could create just a single like county, city, like country that has each of these horror elements depending on where you go. And you don't need the mists and you don't need all of the domains of dread sort of thing happening, though they're still amazing and really cool to know about. And so from there we go on to the domains of Ravenloft, it looks like, which I think is that's Bugbear. Being domains of dread. Domains of Ravenloft, yeah. So Dr. Victra Mordenheim, Dark Lord of Lamordia, crafts the perfect body for her newest band of golem-hunting mercenaries. So the bodies are the golems, and they hunt for more golems, is that it? I don't know. So first they talk about Ravenloft. Um, you know, wandering the mists, a whole bunch. It's just talking about Ravenloft. Not to, I don't want to skip Ravenloft necessarily, but like Curse of Strahd was a whole book on that, and at this point you don't really know about it. I'll just tell you, go find Curse of Strahd. That's a pretty good primer on what Ravenloft is like. A god of mists. So there's a god that runs all these things. This is good to know about like kind of how the mists work, and that's kind of interesting. Featured domains. Noteworthy features, facing dark lords, characters from domains. Okay, so we're gonna go over some domain stuff. Barovia, is Ravenloft different than Barovia? I guess we'll go back and find out. So I guess Ravenloft is the mist itself.
I will be right back.
Yep. In the plane of shadow is this place. The dark powers collect the most wicked beings, put them in a mist-shrouded domain. These are the domains of dread. Nightmare demi-planes that form the setting of Ravenloft. Untold horrors, yet dark powers are far from complete. The chapter provides information on the domains of dread. Nothing one might assume about any material planes is necessarily true in the domains of dread. The mist can be found at domain's borders. The dark powers also grant dark lords limited ability to manipulate the mists. Most can keep their domain's borders closed infinitely and can reopen them at will. Some dark lords slightly varied effects manifest when they close their domains. Interesting. Mist Talisman, non-magical object, resonates with the unique nature of a domain, allows the creature to find a path through the mists. It's really interesting because you could see a party handling that in some interesting ways. getting mist talismans and things. I don't know. This is interesting, but don't know. What I'm thinking about is like how, from a player's perspective, how to get out. One would think like, oh, these mist talismans must be the way out, but like honestly, the mist talismans just keep you stuck. Like it's just like, now you go to a different domain, now a different one, now a different one. Very interesting. These domains though, they're all huge. It's that's interesting to me. We never quite found our answer, but eh. So Barovia, we know about Barovia. Barovian characters. What was your life like in Barovia? Awful, obviously. What superstitions do you cleave to? That the Lord of the Domain knows everything. Do you have recurring dreams or visions of unfamiliar experiences or past life? Who doesn't? um, I like the map. I think this is the map from the Count of um, from the whoa. Why is it Curse of Strahd? I think it's the same map from Curse of Strahd. I guess if you're looking for exits, you would take the Luna River west, Luna Lake south, because there's a little lake, a little river path there. It looks like there's a path through the Amber Temple leading south. You could probably go off of Yester Hill by like going down and going to the west. Old Svalich Road west, the Raven River, Svalik Woods. It looks like if you wanted to, you could kind of like go out in a couple different zones. Um, Going up to the top near Mount Baratok would probably be the worst. East of it, I'm talking about, where that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and higher. Um, so yeah, Ravenloft is the castle. Yeah, that's what I thought. Gates of Barovia. That's interesting. Is there a natural that suggests that the natural hills ruin the chance of coming to Castle Ravenloft from a different spot? Right here at the center, we're looking at the Gates of Barovia, and see how Castle Ravenloft is here, and the village of Barovia is here. So obviously, the castle is like set to like overlook both the village and the kind of like the roads and things like that. So there's a pair of gates here. I'm guessing the wall, there's either a wall that keeps everybody kind of safe in heavy quotes. I have to go something like this. Or the terrain is just kind of impassable. That's very interesting. I wonder how you're supposed to. I'll have to read through Curse of Strahd at some point and see if like you can come up through these other routes and things. Because the other routes, I'm trying to think of how I would try to take on Strahd. He knows everything in his domain, but knowing everything doesn't mean he knows it all at once. If that makes any sense. But interesting. Where did I put my refill? There you are. Ooh, Opaque Snake is also on. That's nice. He's very rarely on, so it's good to see him streaming. Fill. But, Very cool. Whole bunch of villages. Strahd. They get him looking different every time. Who's number 2? Oh, Barovia without the player version of the map. Okay. And then an image of, I don't know who that is. I'm sure they're important. Strahd's Torment. Chafes with the borders. Considers Barovia's people dull inferiors, even as he resents them for the simple pleasures of hope and companionship they possess. That's hilarious. Role-playing Strahd. I am Barovia's lord. All within this land are mine. I sacrificed my life to forge this land. None deserve respect and love more than me. My subjects exist to serve and sustain me. The blood of the defiant tastes the sweetest. I crave the company of equals. If only such individuals existed. Oof. Go to Ravenloft! No. So you can do some adventures in Barovia that aren't doing Curse of Strahd. So yeah, they're just like, here's 8 different things you can kind of do. Like you show up in Barovia and he's like, who the fuck are you? I don't care. And then questions about Titania and how there's different incarnations of her. That's really that. Titania is his. Man, let's go back. Titania is Strahd's brother's, I think, wife, but definitely girlfriend. That's and that could be as low level as just friend who happened to be a girl. And Strahd wanted her so bad he murdered his brother. And then she was like, "Whoa, no, you crazy." And then there's a series of Tatiana's newest incarnations, which is cool. Ha! That's funny. This is hilarious. Irina Kolyana, the adopted daughter, as Davenir. Nope. Where as Davenir? Oh, Esmeralda Radonovich. Okay. I was hoping she'd have stats. Oh, she's just an assassin. Okay, cool. So, boom, stats for one of the types of bodies. Vasilka, a flesh golem or reborn. Nice, because we can use the flesh golem or the reborn, who lives in the abbey. The identical twins, Tatiana can be 2 people. Yasmin and Naseri, who are devout servants of the god Ezra. Ezra, the god of the mists. Very good. Renoir Laurent, teenage son of Chantal Laurent, a woman Strahd abducted years ago. Petra Relenovich, young prodigy, gained local renown for her remarkable paintings. Vanassi, the leader of the far-ranging Vistani band. And Quentin Largant, the dragonborn son of human goat herders, living near the ruined manor, Argen and Vostholt. That's cool. I like the. I'm very glad to see that the reincarnation biz. They're just like it can be pretty much anything, because this gives some ideas. Like you don't need to make it just identical twins. You could just decide on your own. No, it's like 13 children who were born during a specific ritual or something like that. I think that's good. Once
What are
you
you talking
know
about?
Tatiana, the woman that Strahd wants to kill constantly. Well, no, wants as his bride, but then like ends up killing
Accidentally keeps murdering.
/ pushing her away so that she kills herself. Yeah. Once you know the form she takes, consider how the character feels towards the Dark Lord. If your version of Tatiana wants to stay away from him, whether or not the incarnation knows they possess the soul, roll on the avoiding Strahd table. Alternatively, if they're compelled to destroy Strahd, roll on the hunting Strahd table. Is there no fascinated by Strahd table?
Oh, bored by Strahd.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Oh god. You come to Barovia, everything is awful, and you're like, we must destroy this Strahd. And then you show up and Strahd is like literally like like bent knee, giving her like a foot rub or something like that, and she's like in control of everything. The party's like, we need to readjust, we need to reevaluate what's just happened. Turns out Tatiana in this incarnation is 1, supremely evil, 2, into having Strahd do whatever she says. Oh, that would be hilarious. One of them wants to redeem Strahd. It says misguidedly plans. That's so sad. Okay. Beyond Barovia. It's not necessary to have the incarnation appear within Barovia. Rather, it might arise in another land or under strange circumstances. I would love that idea. Imagine you're a resident of the domains of dread, and you're just living your best life, you know? And then, like, the miss half part, and an army arrives led by Strahd, and he's just screaming like, "Give me Tatiana!" And the Lord of your Barovian domain shows up for the first time in your village in years or whatever, and is like, "Fuck you, she's mine!"
So wait, could that just be like, oh man, you're just doing a regular D&D campaign. They're all fourth level. They're doing stuff, and they're like, oh, there's a peasant girl, and then you save her for some goblins, and like, oh, cool. What's her name? Tatiana. And then every player just looks at each other, and then Strahd pops in and starts murdering people.
Mm, so good, so good, so good. That's a good one. I love both versions of that, because the one version is like you're in the real world and Strahd is just broken in, and it's like this is the worst. And in the domains of dread, it's like, what do you mean we're allowed to go to war with the other domains of dread? Best part. So you do the
Mm.
domains of dread one. And one of the players has the dark bargain where he's allowed to travel the mists. Have him see Tatiana and tell him exactly what he knows about that, and have him go, wouldn't Strahd come here? And go like, probably. And then the instant he tries to leave with the mist token, it just opens up and Strahd is there, and then it closes behind Strahd and his army, and he's just standing there with a mist token. And he's like, no. And then like maybe like he gets a quick vision from Ezra. It's like, bye. It's
So
like,
the planes of mist are just like hell, right? It's like another
it's
version of.
it's the plane of shadows, and it's a sub area that was made by the most evil beings in the universe, whose sole purpose is to take the most evil beings in the universe and just shove them there. They're kind of vague on the reason cosmologically. I My personal version is that they're not actually evil. That's just the corrupted form because of how the domains change things. And what they're actually is like they're just trying to fix these people by putting them in the scenario to like live out their life and try to like get them to let go of this obsession they have. But because they're so obsessed and they're given like command of the domain to do whatever they want, they make the Dark Lords look horrifically evil and stuff when the truth is they're not, because they're just but D&D wise, I think it's like that kind of like eternal punishment thing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But oh my god, I just love this.
Because it seems like the. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Tatiana's soul found its way into a distant relative of Strahd, Lissa von Zarevich. So one of his cousins. uh yes! Yes! Oh, that thing we were talking about is actually one of the options in the resurrection circumstances.
Really?
Tatiana's soul reincarnates as someone another Dark Lord covets, such as the bearer of Ankhetop's Ka in Harakir, or Elise in Lamortia, both detailed later in this chapter. So, yes! Full-on war between the domains of dread! Oh, I love that. That's awful and amazing.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Tatiana's soul. A character's own reincarnation allows Tatiana's soul to enter their body, bring with it memories in the form of vivid dreams. That's gonna suck. Um, A character's friend or loved one is the incarnation of Tatiana. When the myths claim that individual, the character is drawn to Barovia as well. So that in that idea, that's very interesting because my understanding of the domains of dread was very different. I thought you were stuck, but my understanding of Ravenloft is your soul is stuck in the domains of dread, and this one suggests, at the very least for Tatiana, and I'm guessing as a result, the coveted peoples of the Dark Lord, you can get resurrected outside of the mists, and then you end up getting stuck back in them, which is an interesting problem.
I imagine they just lay claim to everything and they won't ever let it go forever.
Yeah. Oh, and this is okay. This last image we saw earlier. This is just different forms that Tatiana can be reincarnated into. That's cool.
What if she just gets reincarnated into like a cat?
They kind of have that. Up here, who is the newest incarnation? She can be a flesh golem. She can be identical twins. She can also be like a son, so like it's full on reincarnation. Like anything goes. So like Strahd could literally have like a rat that he's like, yes, my Tatiana. Although I would be very willing to bet that
he has a pet rock with her hair.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. But I'm very willing to bet that the creators would say he would probably kill her if she was in the form he didn't want, because he knows he can always he can get her in the form he wants and then have her. Like that's his big thing, even though it's like not true. And then here's another one, Bluetspur. This was only
Oh wait, go to Bluetspur.
Yeah. We're here. This is the only one I saw. Like I read it was the Dark Lord was the God Brain, and I was like, I have to see this. Bluetspur sounds the best, and it's basically just a place where it's a mind flayer domain of dread. And I was like, yes, the only one I saw and was like, I have to see this one was for mind flayers.
So what Bluetspur? That's
Bluetspur.
Cool. What's in it?
According to this picture, a broken moon and like super small baby mind flayers.
Let me look at that. Oh, cool.
It's terrifying.
So one quick thing before you go to Bluetspur.
Yeah.
What does it take to become a dreadlord?
Be a bastard.
So could Tatiana
just the worst guy? Yeah.
Become a dreadlord?
I think so. I think technically her soul is supposed to be too pure, but I think they had very specific rules for how Ravenloft worked. And then I think Domains of Dread says, okay, so everything that we told you a rule, that's a lie. This is how it actually works.
Okay.
Because in Ravenloft, I remember specifically it was like, Ravenloft has a problem where there are too many people being born and not enough souls. And so you're getting people who are born and they don't have a soul and they just stand there and they're like, I am here. And you're like, what's up? And they're like, the moon. And then they just sit there very quiet and creepy, and you're just like, I'm a go now. And they kind of are, they're soulless for whatever reason. But this is suggesting that souls can kind of like hop around and do whatever they want. Also, it's hilarious in my mind that the domains of dread are so awful, and yet the population is still increasing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So, is there any details on Bluetspur, or is it just?
Oh, they made a full thing. Like this is a full page and some stuff.
Read it. I want to know the Bluetspur.
Yeah. It has alien abductions, otherworldly landscapes, untrustworthy memories, and monstrous experimentation. The talismans of the myths that get you here are dream journals, metallic implants, and scraps of bizarre technology. Let's see, alien domain etches itself not on the waking mind, but rather upon the body as inexplicable scars, and on the psyche through nightmares. So I'm feeling there's a lot of you go to sleep and you wake up and something bad has happened, and rarely is it like a physical thing happening in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
Bluetspur's scale and impossible geometry induce instinctual anxiety. Okay, so like we're talking, you can tell you're inside a place, but it's that like this building is way too big sort of deal. Gaseous tempests whirl around the hooked peaks of gravity-defying mountains. Oily spires twist in semi-organic contortions. That's creepy. Caustic fumaroles yawn and snap shut hungrily. This is what I was talking about, where I was like, caustic horror is also body horror.
It usually is,
Yeah.
yes.
Above it all hangs a dying red orb. I guess that's the moon. Little can survive this wasteland, which is why the masters dwell underground. Beneath the alien, so think I forget what it's called, but it's a type of D&D, something sun. Like it's just inhospitable on the surface. Beneath the alien surface, the mind flayers drift through the howling darkness of their ancient metropolis laboratory. Oh, good! It's a whole science lab. Within the sprawling installation, the numbers are few and their tentacles twitch with undisguised urgency. They toil to prevent the unmistakable, the unthinkable. Their primordial leader, the god brain of Bluetspur, is dying. Ah, yes. I've heard about this before. The part of the domains of dread is the, like, yeah, just like with Strahd, it's that, like, false hope. The Mind Flayers work desperately to reconcile their god's demented whims, even as they struggle to delay its demise. To those ends, their tentacles slip through the mist to drag unwitting souls back to Bluetspur for all manner of experiments. This is interesting because Strahd has control over Ravenloft and can decide to let people in and let them out, and so can kind of like send messages out. This suggests that like the brain can't do that anymore because it's like fully lost itself. And so what the mind flayers are doing is they're gathering up enough information and knowledge to just throw stuff out to try to get people to come back in.
Yeah.
Many abductees are returned. This is also a hilarious thing. I don't know if this is a thing in general as a theme, but have you vaguely noticed that, like, if it's supposed to be a series of super geniuses, they're also desperately in trouble over something, and so, like, they're just putting all of their intelligence on trying to fix it by, like, any madcap method that would make you go, logically, this is an awful plan, but I do see how you're desperate.
Well, that's why they're mad geniuses.
That's true, yeah. Many abductees return with only psychic scars, while others are never seen again. An unlucky few find themselves set upon strange routes leading back to the alien realm, arriving only to realize they've visited Bluetspur before. So it's that kind of place where like you arrive and you're like you see like a guy like the Duke from Resident Evil Village or just a merchant and he's like, "Ah, you're back." And you're like, "Duke, it's so good to see you. Where am I?"
Yeah.
Bluetspur, my friend. Don't you remember? No, they never do. That would be fun. Make like a character who's just there to be like fun and jolly in Bluetspur, and everything else is just awful. Those few who glimpse Bluetspur know it only as a nameless realm from their impossible dreams. These visions share the following facts. The surface is lethal, alien, scattered with ruins of long-extinct civilizations. There's a mountain that is massive beyond all words. It looms as a constant presence and thrums with a soundless pulse. And misshapen shadows crawl along its fissures. Those who dream of events in this land often bear inexplicable scars, marks lending impossible evidence to their visions. And then there's some settlements. I'm not going to read too much into those, but you know, it's a giant. It says it's a continent-sized region, so this is bigger than Strahd's area
Okay.
by huge margins. This is a place that like it'll take weeks to walk from one end to the other. Mount Macabre, a Mount Macabre. Oh man, I would have to look up Bluetspur and see if it's like I want to see if there's other books that have Bluetspur in it, and then buy them because Bluetspur sounds really cool.
right?
I also love the stupid, love macabre. I love the pun. Mount Macabre is a mountain with is a wild misnomer. Okay, so calling it a mountain is a misnomer. It's a malignant deformation on a planetary scale.
It's a what?
It's a malignant deformation on a planetary scale. A spire with no apparent summit. Its contorted slopes stretch into the toxic heavens, and its form occupies the periphery of the viewer's attention, no matter which direction they look. Oh man, the best part about Macabre is you can treat it a little bit like a dream realm and have the party never really know how long has passed. But like whenever they check a map, they're like hundreds of miles distant.
I like that.
Purpose remains largely mysterious to outsiders, but one thing is certain: it will amplify psionic energy and allows the mind flayers to project their thoughts into other domains of dread. Nice. Terrifying, but nice. Below Mount Macabre. Oh, God! Is the hive lair of the Illithids named Citadel Subterrene.
I mean, I guess if you were. I mean, admittedly, a lot of places have really dumb names if you translate them back to what their original names were.
Yes. I just really like that the Mind Flayers are the ones who named these places.
I mean, they're highly analytical, evil, and efficient.
That's true.
You know,
Being
that
evil means you
seems
only work in
par the course
puns.
to be like, this is Mount Evo Big.
Yeah. I just love it. So the Mind Flayers are in the metropolis. They comprise the innumerable interconnected compounds, laboratory vaults, custom prison habitats. Ooh, custom prison habitats. Now I want to play a convict who, when he arrives at the Citadel Subterrane, he's like, this is nice! Intellect Devourer preserves, incubation domes, brain-filled synapse libraries, testing hippodromes, surgical theaters, and facilities that beggar rational description? I don't understand that sentence.
What was it? Or can you highlight it?
Facilities that beggar rational description. I don't know what that is. That might be a typo. I kind of get what they mean. Like, it's like when you get into the facility, you're like, what? I can't at all, you know?
There is a word called beggar belief, which is to be too extraordinary to be believed or described, which is what I think they're going for.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
I had to look
cool,
that
cool.
up. I was not aware of that.
I guess the idea is it makes you a beggar of rational description. Like, you can't take it, so you're like, please tell me what's going on. Non-mind flayers find travel within the Citadel maddening, like trying to find a specific point within a writhing knot of worms. Ooh. 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 Yeah, that
A
sounds
worm
awful.
that walks goes there and is like, man, this is like trying to find a place within a writhing knot of worms. And I'm good at that.
Exactly. Locations are inaccessible to creatures reliant upon basic terrestrial mobility or without the ability to access psionically controlled mechanisms. That was a really big way of saying it only works for people that have levitate or fly and can use their mind to turn on power stuff.
Yeah.
um, Entering the Citadel is simple as the fissures
Or
across.
swim.
Oh yeah, that's true. Um, Entering the Citadel is simple as fissures across Bluetspur, particularly upon Mount Macabre, lead within. Oh, where all those shadows are happening. Yes, yes, I see, I see. They must not care that much about humans that they just like you walk in and they're like, there's a human. Um,
I mean, it's a swarm of illithids.
mm-hmm.
Like they can take on pretty much most things.
It's true,
Especially if you were just like an unaware person that wandered in, you know?
definitely.
Like they will sense your aggression and then destroy you. Like they're, you know,
Most
and like
definitely.
if you're going to kill some illithids, you you probably aren't going to go to Bluetspur to do it, you know?
And if you
Like
are in Bluetspur, you're not going to go down into the Citadel subterrane.
yeah, like
You'll die so fast. You'll draw you probably won't even get to draw your sword, and they'll just blast you.
yeah, they know. Like they're incredibly psychic. Like, oh, it's just like
And
seeing a random like cat or rat in the walls,
yeah,
or like a cockroach. Like, you know, it's like a bug, an ant.
very cool. Chamber of the Godbrain. But yeah, you're very right, especially because like that they said the Mount Macabre increases their powers, so there's no chance. Like they'll just know from like a mile away. Um, Chamber of the Godbrain rests miles below the Citadel. The cathedral-like chamber is roughly ovoid in shape, with walls of gleaming organic metal. Okay, so this is the least interesting part of this description so far. Massive god brain trembles in a pool of medicinal brine. Okay, so it's an elder brain. Experimental chemicals capable of dissolving most other creatures. Okay, it's an elder brain. Massive alien brain's affliction is clear from the leaking holes pocking its deep wrinkled lobes, so it's an old elder brain. Illithid attendants in eerie protective garb endlessly attend to their dying overlord and indulge even its most blasphemous schemes, such as the creation of the vampiric mind flayers. See Chapter 5. Bump! Oh, wow.
What?
Just the picture. I'm not sure where the legs are. I see one leg, and I think the other thing is an arm?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That's its face, though. That's its second arm up there behind the head. So that's its arm, that's its other arm, and I guess both its legs are doing that thing. Man, it looks a bit depraved. Disrupt psyche. Oh, when the mind flayers of Bluetspur, see chapter 3, could find no cure for their overlord's affliction, their degenerating elder brain turned to radical methods to stave off dementia and death. The results were vampiric mind flayers, feral atrocities spawned from mind flayer tadpoles infected with vampirism. Why would you do that?
Well, it wanted to be a vampire
I guess, but why didn't you just do it to the elder brain? Very interesting.
because it needed to see if it worked.
Oh, fair, fair. Obviously, it
And
didn't
it
work the way you
clearly
wanted it
found,
to.
yeah, it found out that it didn't, you know?
Yeah, these specialized but flawed terrors serve one single purpose: to drain the cerebral fluids from sapient minds. Once they do so, they return to the elder brain, who liquefies them into its pool and releases the stolen essences amid a hormone brine. This grotesque balm stalls the elder brain's degeneration, but is far from a cure.
So it takes the vampire stuff and then dissolves them.
It they mama bird into the elder brain's mouth. That's what I
Oh,
got. They eat a bunch of brains and they come back and give it back, and then the elder brain turns that into a slurry, and that slurry staves off death.
but not sanity.
Yep. They are physically and mentally unstable, ghoulish creatures. They let nothing stand between them and their existential imperatives. They possess the abilities of all other mind flayers, but their brains are not equipped to employ them, sorry. Instead, they bombard people with a mental static of visceral visions. While these ravenous creatures are horrifying to behold, they unsettle none more than other mind flayers who consider them abominations. That's fair. Like, we do that with Undead.
Yeah.
That's wild. Mount Gristle, a polypus. Polypus.
Yeah, polypus.
I'm trying to remember what that exactly means.
Polyps are like little flesh cysts.
Okay. Polypus Spires once served as secondary installation to the domain's resident mind flayers, but the residents rebelled.
Sorry, what'd you say?
The residents rebelled. Apologies, I'm really...
No, I'm playing a League game right now, so I'm only...
Yeah, sorry, my throat is, 2 hours straight of talking is, woof, on my throat. So the domain's resident mind flayers rebelled against the Godbrain's self-serving obsessions, and as one might amputate an infected limb, the Godbrain cut off Mount Gristle from its psychic network. So the abandoned residents largely succumbed to infighting and each other's amoral experiments. Oh, so that's what happens when you leave mind flayers alone for freedom. The spirits of these tormented mind flayers remain within Mount Gristle, as does the rebellion's leader, a bloated deviant that calls itself the High Master and seeks to undermine the Godbrain. This lore is wild for a lot of reasons. It's really important to know that mind flayers in general have their own life. But if an elder brain gets near them, they get locked back into the lifestyle of a mind flayer.
Yeah.
So what this is saying is that either the god was just out of range and decided, I can't move, so let's just get rid of these people. Or the other interesting option, which is that the god brain lost the power to do that. Or doesn't have it because it's a deity and not a elder brain.
I think it's a regular elder brain. I think it just lost its power because it's going insane.
Possibly, yes. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. I want to talk to the people at Mount Gristle. Doesn't matter. The scope of what mind flayers call history exists on a cosmic scale. Through ages of empire and conflict, please tell me they're bringing back time travel. The illithid elder brains indulge experiments without comparison or reference for lesser beings. Explorations beyond the boundaries of time. Beyond the boundaries of time! We got it! We got confirmation! Time travel! Mind flayers, last race! Win! Reality, immortality, and the multiverse. Win! Mind flayers, last race. Always bet MF.
Hell yeah.
Always bet MF, motherfucker. Mind flayers for the win. Many failed, at least one catastrophically so. To summarize an eon of atrocities. Yes! Oh god, it's bad. One elder brain's reality-bending research had an unexpected result, revealing to it a malignant truth for which existence was unprepared. Yes, 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 yes. I believe this is the elder brain who realized that the mind flayers are the biggest joke of the universe. They're just redoing the same event over and over and over again.
Wait, so surmise that for me?
Okay, so the original lore of the mind flayers, way back, or maybe not the original.
They were in the future and they went back in time.
Yes, because the heat death of the universe was happening, or some event. I don't remember what the event exactly was, but everything was dying, and so they went back in time to fix everything. My personal headcanon that I've always loved is that while time allows for divergence, in general, it loops. So I loved the idea that the mind flayers went back in time and would retake everything again, and then reach the heat death of the universe, panic, and go back in time. And each time they do this, they don't remember they're doing it because, they panic and they lose like half of the historical knowledge because the Gith rebel again.
I kind of like that.
And so they're just this like they're the universe's biggest practical joke. Like if there is an elder god who's in control of everything, he like sits down occasionally and like with the god of time and is like, are the mind flayers still doing the thing? And he goes like, yes sir, they are. And he's like, oh, I love mind flayers. um but yeah, I love the insanity of that. Hmm. Guided by this burgeoning revelation, the elder brain turned and preyed upon its peers, consuming their discoveries in their physical forms to fuel an impossible apotheosis. Oh, he's trying to create a single brain. Ultimately, the weight of the elder brain's deeds caused its own physicality to rebel, giving rise to an alien disease that began devouring its fleshy form. Oh,
So
that's not
wait,
good.
what was its goal? To make a unified singularity brain?
Yeah, well, they don't quite. It was trying for apotheosis, which is a transformation, and I believe it's a becoming one. Guided by the revelation, which they do not say what the revelation was. Everything I told you was my personal theory. Um, the elder brain began to eat everything. Its peers specifically, so I think that means other elder brains. And then consuming their discoveries in physical forms to fuel an impossible apotheosis, which I assume is the fusion of all elder brains into one being. Ultimately, that caused a disease, also known as the disease you get when you are a cannibal. When you eat other people. I think it like sits in your body for like 7 years and then activates.
You're talking like the prion disease?
Yeah, something like that. So
Uh,
we're not sure that's exactly what happened, but this is where I'm guessing this is going. And so that disease started to devour its fleshy form. So the elder brain started to die because it started eating itself. Um, Horrified by an affliction that infected only them, the other elder brains united and psionically expelled the diseased brain from existence. Or so they thought.
oh my god, that's amazing. So it was trying to absorb all the other brains and it got diseased.
And then
And
they
they're like,
freaked out
no.
and kicked it out. From a place without time or reality, the dark powers plucked the dying elder brain and planted it upon a tormented world. Ever since, the god brain of Bluetspur has dreamed and desperately indulged ever more demented schemes as it seeks to save its own life and give action to a thought, alien even to it. Oh, I love that. So it still wants to eat all the other elder brains.
Yeah.
So it's not even a god. It's just a very sick elder brain. The god brain is more akin to a physical location or massive object than it is a creature. Its droves of servants are more direct threats than the inscrutable Dark Lord itself. The god brain commands untold numbers of mind flayers, intellect devourers, and other creatures. Within Bluetspur, it is constantly telepathically linked with all of its servants and knows anything that they know. It did lose the ability to control its servants. The god brain delegates broad goals to its most effective servants, encouraging them to indulge all manner of radical experiments. Ooh. What if? What if the god brain? What if Mount Gristle didn't actually revolt? What if the High Master, who seeks to undermine the god brain just planted that in him to see what he would do? Because if he's able to create something that can kill the god brain might be able to reverse engineer it to find something to make it live longer.
Or it thought of that and tried that and then legit lost control.
Yes, I like that. Yes, everything must be the biggest practical joke on the Mind Flayers. Mist vibrations through the awesome psychic resonances of Mount Macabre. The Godbrain can guide any of its servants or other psychically aligned minds through the mists to Bluetspur. In effect, it provides a vision of or dream of the domain that itself functions as a mist talisman. Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
So wait, what was that?
It can give you a dream that, and if you follow the dream, if you like get up and like there was this place, there was mist everywhere, I've got to go there. If you do that, you will end up in Bluetspur, because the God Brain has created inside of your brain a mist talisman.
That's trippy.
Yeah, that's cool. Life support. The Illithids of Bluetspur toil to save their elder brain through all manner of outlandish scientific and medical means. Among the most bizarre of these schemes is the God Brain's own, the creation of the degenerate servants that hunt for balms for its affliction. These vampiric mind flayers, from Chapter 5, the ones you just talked about, slip from Bluetspur to prey upon humanoids. They then return to the God Brain, bloated with cerebrospinal fluid, to momentarily dull its suffering. So cerebrospinal fluid is the answer that keeps it kind of going. So it's a degenerative disease then, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Closing the borders.
That actually sounds more like Alzheimer's.
But so that's interesting. So is it due to the age of the elder brain, or is it due to him trying to eat other elder brains?
I think you're looking too much into it on that part.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to have fun with it. Like yeah, it's just interesting.
No, I mean, I think that is where the comparisons end. I think it is due to him trying to eat other brains.
Oh, okay. So
look up prion. It is a prion disease. That is a cannibal disease. That is what you're looking at.
Right.
It's a prion cannibal disease. That is what it's called. So if you want to look that up right now and look up the symptoms, that might give you a clue.
Prion diseases, also known as transmissible spongiform encephalopathies. Wow, I did that. Or TSEs are a group of rare fatal brain diseases that affect animals and humans. They are caused by an infectious agent known as prion, which is derived from a misfolded version of a normal host protein known as prion protein. Diseases include bovine in cattle, bovine spongiform encephalopathy in cattle, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and variant CJD in humans, scrapie in sheep. Why do sheep get the easy word? And chronic wasting disease in deer, elk, moose, and reindeer. So it is a giant brain, so it's probably something like a chronic wasting disease.
Yeah, look up that.
Yeah. Chronic wasting disease, always fatal contagious neurological disease affecting deer species, causes a characteristic spongy degeneration of the brains of infected animals, resulting in emaciation, abnormal behavior, loss of bodily functions, and death. That sounds pretty much what's going on with this guy.
Yeah.
Then closing the borders. When the God Brain closes Bluetspur's borders, the surface of the domain is racked by extreme electrical storms, and alien vapors rise at the domain's distant edges and within its hidden tunnels. Rather than barring creatures' escape, these mists repress memories. Any non-aberration leaving Bluetspur is transported to a familiar place where they soon wake up, even if they weren't previously asleep. Their time in Bluetspur is repressed, altered as if by the Modify Memory spell.
Oh, that's cool. Fuck Strahd, this is way cooler than...
Mm-hmm. And then there's a Recovering Memories section later at the bottom here, it looks like, on how to recover memories. Okay, it is noon, so we're going to stop here. But this is amazing. I want to do more of this. We'll start back up. I don't know when. I still gotta finish Resident Evil, but oh boy, like, do I like this? We haven't even gotten to the part where I was like unsure about certain things. I just love this. This domain is awesome.
I am very glad I said, Matt, please read Bluetspur.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is a good place to end up. Awesome. Oh, did the music stop? Oh, the music stopped a while ago. I totally missed that. Um, okay, so I'll pause that again. Okay, so thank you everybody who's here. We're gonna stop here at the Godbrain's Torment. I think we'll do this. We'll do this again on Sunday. Just have more fun reading over what's going on in this great thing. We'll start at either the Recovering Memory section or the Godbrain's Torment, one of the two. Once again, what music there was played that I quickly lost track of after it looks like we almost got an hour of music in at least. That was by Mark Vander Meulen. Once again, he's a composer, guitar player, and violist. He's on YouTube. He just likes showing off the viola. It's all royalty-free music. Go check him out. That was some really cool music, I thought, or at least the parts that I was listening to. I kind of focused on this part. But I hope everyone has a great time. You know, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow at the Twitch. We're trying to get to 50 followers, so if you could help with that, that would be great. And then I've got a Twitter. It's at Savant75, and we'll talk more D&D next time. And the rest of the week is different games. Monday, I'm doing a weekly check-in on Magic. I actually haven't checked out the updates yet, so that's going to be really interesting. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, Flatline, you're still on for playing
Yeah.
It Takes Two, right?
Correct.
Perfect, yeah. So we're going to play It Takes Two on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the rest of the time is Resident Evil Village, as I'm trying to slowly work my way till beating it, but also the last bit of, what's it called? Occasionally I play Phasmophobia with Help a Noob Out. Help a Noob Out is another streamer, very cool. You want to check him out. That is it. I'll see everybody next time. Have a great one.